Hey guys, welcome back to Loft Sports. It's Tyler. Wow. Notre Dame comes out and pretty much dominates number 4 Clemson 35-14. Clemson with a touchdown there at the end, kind of a garbage time touchdown, but we did still have some starters out there on the field. So I don't even really know where to begin with this one. I really felt like Notre Dame could win this game, and I thought we would win this game. Clemson had come into this game kind of getting by in a lot of their games by the skin of their teeth. They had some close games earlier in the year. I think the Georgia Tech game was close for a while for them. They really should have lost earlier in the year at Wake Forest. They got lucky to get out of that game with a win. They looked pretty good against a tough NC State team earlier in the year at home, but they have kind of limped through these games. They really shouldn't have beat Syracuse a couple weeks ago. They were outplayed by Syracuse at home. Had to make a quarterback change to pull out a win there. So, listen, a couple of things here. First of all, a lot of people are going to say, well, Clemson was overrated. Clemson was terrible. I agree that Clemson should not have been ranked ahead of Michigan. I agree that they should not have been ranked ahead of TCU. You could make an argument that they shouldn't have been ranked ahead of Alabama, although Alabama did have a loss. Obviously, that's going to change after tonight. I'll get to that in a second. But from Notre Dame's standpoint, this is a huge win for our program. This is arguably as big, if not a bigger win than when we beat number 1 Clemson in 2020. Now, the 2020 game, Notre Dame was undefeated. It obviously cemented our spot in the playoffs that season. In the grand scheme of things for that season, it was a bigger win. But Trevor Lawrence didn't play, and we all know how that season ended. We got blown out by Clemson when we rematched them in the championship game of the ACC title, and then we got blown out by Alabama in the playoff game. This season, Notre Dame had nothing to lose. If we lose this game, we're 5-4. They're still going on to play for a potential playoff berth. All the pressure in this game was on Clemson. So Notre Dame a little bit was playing with house money. But this is a huge win for Marcus Freeman. Kelly did not have a win of this caliber until year 3 when we beat Michigan at home, and then we went on the road and beat Oklahoma later in the year. This is a huge win for Marcus Freeman. To beat a veteran coaching staff, and yes, DJ has looked terrible, DJ Ungalungale. I always butcher his name when I say it. I feel terrible, but I for whatever reason, I have a hard time with it. Their quarterback has been a starter now for the last 2 seasons. They have a veteran program. Dabo's been there for 12, 13 years. He's won 2 national championships. I have a lot of respect for what Clemson has built. They've won titles. They've played for titles. They've won the ACC. Yes, the ACC is garbage, but they dominate every year. They go out and they beat the teams they're supposed to play, and to their credit, they've beaten Alabama. They've beaten Ohio State. They've played with Georgia. They've played with some of the big boys like Oklahoma and all these other teams on that level. So Clemson has earned their spot at the top of the sport. Notre Dame has not quite gotten the wins against Ohio State, against Georgia, against Bama. We're close. We've been to 2 playoffs and a national championship in the last 10 years, but we have not won anything of any significance other than a couple of regular season games. This doesn't change that, but this is a building block on the foundation for Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame. This is a win that takes this program a step further. Brian Kelly, these are the kind of games that, frankly, Kelly had trouble winning at Notre Dame. These were the games where we would underperform or we would get blown out, and it would make us look like we didn't belong in this game. So for us to come out here and beat Clemson, I know they've struggled. I know their offense has been worse than ours looked at times earlier in the season. But they still have an elite defense. Their entire front 7 will play on Sundays in the NFL. They're that good on defense. They still have a quarterback that's started for 2+ years. They still have an elite running back. They still have playmakers on the outside. This is a good team. It's not a great team. Clemson's probably not even a top 10 team, but they're still a top 5 program in the sport at present time. That's why this win is big for Marcus Freeman. To get this win at home, the crowd showed up tonight. We didn't sell all our tickets to Clemson fans, which was a legitimate concern earlier in the week. This felt like a giant win for Notre Dame. What a crazy year. We've beaten North Carolina, who's 8-1 on the road. We've beaten Clemson, who's 8-1. We've beaten Syracuse, who's 6-3 and better than expected. We played Ohio State to the wire for the most part in the Horseshoe opening weekend, and yet we've lost to Marshall and Stanford. It's crazy to think that if we'd have just took care of business in those 2 games, we'd be sitting at 8-1 right now and probably ranked in the top 5 in the poll on Tuesday. But anyway, obviously this team is not a playoff team. We know that. But Drew Pine, to his credit, did enough tonight. He made some plays. That drive there toward the end of the first half, he scrambles for a first down, then he rushes for the touchdown. Made some good throws tonight when he absolutely had to, and it wasn't often because the offensive line and the running game was freaking awesome. That just makes me so happy to watch Notre Dame line up and run it right at Clemson. Not around, not trying to misdirect and finesse. We just lined up and said, we've got more hair down there than you, and we're going to run right at you. Stop it. And that elite defense could not get off the field. Diggs, Estime, Tyree, Pine at times, then some play action to the tight end, some misdirection, some quick passes to Tyree in the flat. Yes, there's things to be improved on, but the offensive line, amazing performance from them. We rushed for over 250 yards, controlled the line of scrimmage, controlled the game clock, kept their offense off the field, kept our defense fresh. Speaking of, my God, this defense deserves the game ball tonight. First of all, our special teams coach needs to be the highest paid special teams coach in the history of college football. 6 blocked punts in 8 games. That Beamer ball at Virginia Tech in its heyday, I don't think was doing that. We block a punt for a touchdown, sets the tempo immediately in that game because we had missed a field goal earlier in the game and momentum was kind of in flux there. The defense blocks the punt. Then we control the game. They were constantly playing from behind. We didn't let Will Shipley, who's their best player, beat us. We didn't let the run game get going. We pressured DJ. We sacked him. We played good defense in the secondary. He had to overthrow guys. They couldn't get the short game going. Guys were getting off blocks, making tackles in space, not losing one-on-one battles. This was just a well-run game by Marcus Freeman and the staff, and the boys went out there and they executed. Tackles, no penalties, made plays in space, made guys miss on the offensive side, didn't shoot ourselves in the foot with special teams, got block a punt. Then we get a pick when they make the quarterback change in the third quarter, sets up the offense for a touchdown. Now the pressure's all on them. Then they're driving down the field early in the fourth quarter. It's still a game, 21-0. If they score there, they still got a whole quarter to try and get back in the game. Our offense had not really done much outside of the 1 touchdown drive. 21-7 there. It's a football game. We get a pick 6 to put the dagger in the heart and turn it. Then we get the ball back after they score, and we march down and a nice little touchdown pass to Mayer to break him the touchdown record. Man, what a performance. These guys deserve so much credit. Now, we got a tough matchup against Navy. Navy's always weird because of the triple option. I'm not going to say they're a tough matchup because they're not good. They're like 3-5. We should win that game going away, but it is a noon kick. We got to turn around and prepare for that. That's going to be a tough game because you're coming off of the highest of highs. We've struggled with the teams that we should beat with our eyes closed, so we can't look past Navy. But then we got BC on the road and then Southern Cal to end the season. So, or BC, I think BC at home and then Southern Cal to end the season. So this is a huge win for Notre Dame. I'm not going to assume we beat Navy and Boston College because I'm not assuming anything in this crazy season where we've played our best against teams I thought we would probably lose to and teams we should have blown out we've lost to. So I'm assuming nothing, but this opens up the possibility of having a really nice finish to the season. Marcus Freeman now has 3 wins against ranked teams in his first year at Notre Dame. At Carolina, at Cuse, and now home against Clemson. And Carolina won again today, so they're going to keep ascending up the polls. Syracuse lost, they'll probably fall out, but this was a huge win. This just made me happy. We controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides, special teams, defense, offense, all 3 phases. We looked like we not only belonged on the field with a top 5 team, but we were better than them. Again, Clemson is not the Clemson of a couple years ago. I acknowledge that, but they still have an elite status in the sport. They were given a 4th ranking by the committee for a reason because of what they have built in the past 5 to 7 years. That was a respect thing. This was a big win for Notre Dame. I don't want to hear anything about Clemson this, Clemson that, Clemson wasn't this, Clemson wasn't that. This is a nice win for Notre Dame. It's not beating Georgia at Georgia. I acknowledge that. It's not beating Ohio State at Ohio State. I understand that. But this was still a really good first signature win for Marcus Freeman at home. One other thing I want to touch on really quickly. The LSU-Alabama game, at first I was like, I hope Alabama stomps them. But as the game wore on and LSU fought and that game was back and forth, LSU ultimately pulls out the win. I had mixed emotions about it because I'm going to be honest, I'm still a little salty that Brian Kelly left us in the middle of the night, kind of left us high and dry. But I thought about it, and I'm actually happy for him. Here's why. Brian Kelly did a lot of good at Notre Dame. He took us to 2 playoff appearances and a national championship. No, he was not able to get us to that next level, but he was able to get us back to national relevance. When I was growing up in Nebraska, and Nebraska was great, and Notre Dame was pretty average, under Bob Davie, under Tyrone Willingham, and under Charlie Weiss, Kelly came in and for 12 years ran a pretty stable program. There were some lows. The 4-8 season in 2016, I don't know how he didn't get fired, but he came back, and we had a bunch of 10-win seasons. He never left. He never won less than 10 games until he left for LSU. I'm happy for Brian Kelly. Here's what I hope happens. I hope this is one of those things where when a relationship ends, sometimes you have a mutually beneficial, it's mutually beneficial. Maybe Brian Kelly had peaked at Notre Dame, and maybe he couldn't take Notre Dame to the next level because his coaching philosophy just didn't mesh with what we needed to get to the next level. I'm not saying Brian Kelly's going to win a national championship at LSU. I'm not saying Notre Dame's going to win a national championship without Brian Kelly. What I'm saying is it felt like that relationship had run its course. We as fans were tired of, hey, it's great that you can win all these games, but we really need you to win some New Year's Six Bowls. We really need you to win some playoff games. We really want to win a national championship. And he just couldn't deliver. And it wasn't that he couldn't get the big win. It was, man, every time we go up against Clemson or Alabama or Ohio State, we get boat raced and we get beat by 3-4 touchdowns, and it looks like we're not even there. Maybe Brian Kelly needs that edge from some other program like LSU can provide. Because let's be honest, LSU is probably going to get a little bit better players than Notre Dame because they don't have the academic restrictions. But that doesn't mean Notre Dame can't get great players too. It just maybe means that Kelly and his philosophy will work better down there, and Marcus Freeman and what he can do will get the players he can make and take us to that next level. That's all I'm trying to say. Maybe it's in the cards one day that Notre Dame and LSU play in a playoff game or both make it to the playoff in the same year. And maybe they both have success in the future. This could be that case. I'm not saying that on one random Saturday night where Notre Dame beat a top 5 Clemson team and LSU dethroned Alabama in the SEC West, that is always going to be the case. But I'm just saying that stepping back and acknowledging that Brian Kelly did do a lot of good things at Notre Dame, I'm happy for him that he's able to go and get a win against Nick Saban in Alabama because he had not had any luck at Notre Dame. But on the same night, Notre Dame also turned a corner, it feels like, and got a signature win in its own right without Brian Kelly. So this doesn't have to be a divorce where it's like, I got the house, I got the car, I got the boat, I got everything, I got the custody of the kids, and I won the divorce. it doesn't have to be like that. Maybe he goes on and does great things at LSU. Maybe Marcus Freeman gets his opportunity and figures out how to make Notre Dame great to the point where we can play for a national championship and we can beat Alabama or we can beat Georgia or Ohio State. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that might be a possibility, and I looked at it in a new perspective after tonight because I felt good for LSU. They're a great program, and I'm just honestly sick of Nick Saban and Alabama. They've won 6 national championships or whatever it is. It's way too many for one program in such a short amount of time. They need to be humbled a little bit. So it's probably better for the sport that we don't have the SEC or the Alabama just absolutely dominating every single year. And it's not always going to be between them and Georgia. So just a little bit of outside perspective. Congratulations for Kelly and LSU on a huge win. But, man, what a night to be a Notre Dame fan. I'm super excited. If we can just take care of business against Navy and BC, the showdown with SC looms. We'll see what their record's going to be. They still got to play a tough UCLA team the week before us. But I kind of hope USC wins out. I kind of hope they're 10-1. And we're 8-3 going into that game. That would be one of the bigger games. I know Michigan, Ohio State play that week and some other games, but that would be one of the premier games on that final Saturday of the season if we roll in there 8-3 and they're 10-1 with everything to play for. So great night of sports. Astros win the World Series. Wasn't really rooting for them, but it was a great. Yordan Alvarez had a big home run there. Great college football games on all day. So Tennessee and Georgia Georgia dominated, but it was a pretty good game for the most part. Georgia looks really good. Oregon continues to look really good, and they look improved. Miami is terrible. I watched a little bit of their game at halftime of ours. Florida State, I think 45-3 over Miami. So, Oklahoma lost again today. So overall, Notre Dame, despite the slow start, with a chance to win 8-9 games in this season, I feel pretty good. We've now beaten 3 teams that were ranked at the time we played them. So this is about building progress for the next year. Marcus Freeman looked really good tonight coaching the team. He was on the officials. He was standing up for his guys. Our guys responded to that, and we ran the ball with conviction. We got after it on defense, got after it on special teams. I'm beaming because this is just a great win for Notre Dame. But anyway, thank you guys. This is Tyler with Loft Sports signing off. Go Irish.